guys, how we doing? It's Dan Hancock here and welcome to the Truth Be Told podcast once again. If you aren't already, please follow me on Instagram at InstaDanFitness and please follow me on Facebook at Dan Hancock, the Mental Health PT. If you're interested in receiving one-to-one coaching from myself, or if you're interested in being a mental health and exercise coach, please go and check out the links on either of my social bios and find out a little bit more information. Now, in today's podcast, I'm joined by the amazing Stu McLay. Me and Stu have been mates for years, and this podcast is titled Fat Loss, True or False. Essentially, we're going to throw out some very short, sharp fat loss questions so that you guys can receive some valuable nuggets, get as much information as possible in a very short space of time. This is going to absolutely blow your mind and go against a lot of the stuff that you have believed to be true in the fitness industry with regards to fat loss. Guys, strap yourselves in. Hope you enjoy. We're going to have a little bit of fun today. We essentially are going to smash through some generally believed fat loss information or myths or any of this type of stuff. Stu is an expert nutritionist and he is going to be able to shine a light on a few things, I think is probably best. Now, I'll let Stu do a little bit of his own introduction as well. Me and Stu have known each other for a few years. I'm a massive fan of his work. Me and Stu became pals when we were PTing on the gym floor at Pure Gym. And one of the reasons that me and Stu became quite close and got on was because, no offense to anyone at all, but I feel as if we were surrounded by what you would probably categorize as the general fitness industry personal trainers who we felt as if needed to potentially be taught a thing or two, or maybe weren't up to scratch with the sort of standard that we felt people should have been delivering, and never in an arsehole way. Like we're good guys. We just seemed to notice that there was a lot of things going on that we kind of disagreed with, and me and Stu wanted to put that right, not for our own self-gratification, but in order to help our clients best. So yeah, we hit it off and we've been good mates ever since. So Stu, thank you very much for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm good, Bob. I'm good. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think I love this job. I love this career. It's what I always wanted to do. And it took me a long time to get here to be able to do that kind of thing. But I think the fitness industry has a lot of stuff that needs to be changed about it. There's a lot of myths out there. There's a lot of nonsense out there. I think it just makes a lot harder for people to be successful and feel good about themselves. So yes, hopefully we can change about that today.
Yes, brilliant. Okay, guys, so the framework, this is what we're going to do today. It's a little bit different. I have got a series of different fat loss questions here. I'm going to set a timer on the clock as soon as I've answered the question. I'm basically going to throw them at Stu and I'm going to say fat loss, true or false. I'm going to say the question. We're going to set the timer for a minute. Stu's got the difficult challenge of trying to fit an answer into a minute. Guys, anyone who's listening to this, I want you to take everything here with a pinch of salt. Stu is an expert. I'm an expert in this. However, the reason we've given the minute time scale is just to make things a little bit fun and a little bit exciting. We could discuss every single one of these questions till the cows came home, honestly. So take it in context. If I feel as if Stu needs to give us a little bit more information, I'm going to ask him for a little bit more information, but we're going to try and make it as punchy as possible. So yeah, we will get ready to rock. So Stu, you ready?
Yes, I'll do my best to stick under 60 seconds.
That's the real challenge. Okay, right. Let's get ready to go. Question number 1. You have to count calories to lose fat. Minute on the clock. Let's go.
False. Definitely not. 100%. There's so many different methods you can use. You can go for tracking methods, which is your counting calories, weighing food, all that kind of stuff. But for the vast majority of people, you'd be far, far better like getting good habits and finding methods that suit you. If you want to count calories, that's for like more extreme goals in a shorter time period. For like longer term success, you don't need to count calories at all.
Cool. Yeah, that was 20 seconds.
Yes, good.
That was 20 seconds. Right. Okay, brilliant. Would you right, we've got another 30 seconds. Let's throw in another question then. Would you recommend counting calories though to the average person who wants to lose fat, sorry?
No. It's for the most people, they're really busy, they've got a lot going on, and counting calories and weighing food in most situations will probably make that more challenging. I'm not usually with my clients, I will give them the option. The first question I'll ask is, what do you think? Do you think calorie counting is going to work for you, or is it going to add stress? If it's going to add stress, we definitely don't do it. For some people, it just gives them structure. So yeah.
Brilliant. Amazing. Nice one. Right. Minute done. Okay. This isn't a little bit of a true or false. This is a which terminology should we use? Fat loss or weight loss? Minute on the clock.
Definitely fat loss. But I do think the whole weight loss thing's a wee bit kind of demonized as well now. But yes, fat loss, 100%.
Okay, what I give us a little bit more context on why a lot of us don't use weight loss now, but why you feel it still does have a place.
So I think things like Slimming World, things like a lot of the kind of fat loss, fad diets and things like that, they will just focus on the scales and the scales alone. It's not a good data point on its own. However, if it doesn't affect you in terms of it makes you feel like crap by weighing yourself on a regular basis, then it is a good data point that you can use as part of a bigger picture. So it can be used, but yeah, fat loss is what you want to focus on.
Yeah, okay, we've got 20 seconds. Very quickly, other metrics we should be using instead of fat loss.
Things like your hips, your waist, photos, how you feel in clothes is generally a really good one. I generally tell my clients is like if they feel good, if they feel like they're getting progress, if it is fat loss, then that's a good place to be. Photos is probably the best one apart from that.
Yes, brilliant. Well done. Right, we're absolutely flying through this. Okay, question number 3. A calorie deficit, so anyone counting calories, a calorie deficit of 250 per day is enough.
True. Definitely true. It's a deficit, and that's all that matters. So yeah, it might be a bit slower. So like the general consensus within the fitness industry is a 500 calorie deficit per day. 250 calories will still get you fat loss. It just takes a bit longer. If you want to push on and go a wee bit harder and be a bit more extreme, like some of the days of the week, then you can 100% do that as well. So on the other end of the scale, you could go harder. Extreme diets get a hard rap. They 100% work. The problem is with them a lot of time is it's just an extreme diet without a backup plan. You need to have like a phase 2, which is a bit more kind of lifestyle maintenance and learning how to keep your results as well. So yeah. Yes,
brilliant. Okay, love that. Right, question number 4. Carbs are bad for you. Right, sorry, that's just such a generic thing. Carbs are bad when it comes to fat loss. Let's reframe that.
Folks, potatoes are a great example. They get a terrible, terrible rap, or white potatoes do. Sweet potatoes are supposedly better. They're both brilliant. They're both great options. Normal potatoes are actually really high on something called the satiety index, so they fill you up. That's going to potentially help you stay in a deficit and lose fat. So it's nonsense.
Potatoes were the big one that came out with Slimming World and the Sins and all that type of stuff, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, I've had clients. I'm allowed to name check certain individuals.
Yeah, of course you can. Why not? Go for it.
And things like that.
Yeah.
I've had recent clients who tell me that they were banned from eating their favourite foods such as bananas.
That's wild.
Absolute nonsense. I know Slimming World, whether they still do it, they used to say things like you could have a full banana, but you couldn't mash it and put it on a piece because it's going to spike insulin levels, which supposedly makes you keep fat. It's nonsense. And if you think about it logically, what's the difference between eating a banana and chewing it or mashing it first? You're mashing it in your mouth when you eat it.
It's wild, isn't it? It's because you're burning calories when you chew. That's a little bit of extra content. I'll just stop the clock now, guys. So one of the reasons that carbs is demonized is because generally when people cut out carbs, no carbs before marbs. We've all heard that. Say, for example, we've got a female about to go on holiday and she cuts out carbs. She's generally going to be eating less, right? So she's cutting out a whole macronutrient there. So therefore, she's cutting out more calories. Therefore, she's going to be losing fat. Then we've got the whole other argument of when you eat carbs, having more water retention and that type of thing. So potentially weighing more on the scales. Hopefully that gives you a little bit more context with that.
Yeah, we touched that before you go on, mate.
Yes, on you go.
See a lot of things that people associate with carbs, like cakes and biscuits and stuff like that. A lot of time they're carbs and fats together, but people associate it with carbs. So when they cut carbs out, they probably cut out cakes, biscuits, all these things that are really high in calories, and then they think, oh yeah, it was definitely carbs. No, you've just created a deficit.
Yeah, and you're more likely to eat more carbs as well. Like, do you know what I mean? A sandwich has 2 bits of bread, not one. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to have pasta, you're going to have a big bowl of pasta, aren't you? And it's very easy to end up eating more.
I know if I have a pot of pasta, I'm going back for seconds.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Question number 5. There is no such thing as a bad food, or there's no such thing as one bad meal.
True. There is no food in isolation that is unhealthy or causes fat gain or prevents fat loss. It's your overall diet that matters. So if you say Monday to Sunday kind of thing, you were eating great, but apart from the Saturday night, you had a takeaway. That takeaway isn't unhealthy. because the rest of your food has been really, really good. So if you look at it as a nutrition, your diet is good, your diet is healthy, it's not going to have an impact on your health. So, yeah.
Good. Brilliant. I don't think we need to expand on that. That was short, concise, good. 30 seconds there. Brilliant. And it's the same sort of thing of, if you go over your calories one day, you've still got the rest of the week. So if you look at it that way, that you could even have an awful day of eating. So you have what you would perceive as 4 or 5 bad meals, and then you can still make up for the rest of the week. So yeah.
Folk do a lot of the time, like over a week, because especially counting calories and that, so it's really good advice to look at it that way. Like, and I'm not saying this is maybe ideal because it might be too long a time scale, but you could actually look at it over a month. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like easily you could, if you had a bad few days and 1 week, but the rest of the month is fantastic, you're probably doing all right.
Yeah. No, definitely. It's the same with training. It's the same with anything else. It'd be the same for me and Stu business wise. Like we wouldn't look at business daily. We'd look at it quarterly, that type of thing. Okay, cool. Now, question number 6: being overweight is genetic.
False.
I thought you weren't going to say anything else.
So the thing is that this is one of the ones that there is a lot of research going into different things with like obesity and things like that, and if there is genetic stuff, and there is like weights, like if a baby is born to a mother who's obese, the risk is going up and things like that. So there is elements of that there, but it's not destiny. So
yeah, and is that more just because you will have done seen the studies on that, and is that then still more environmental as opposed to genetic?
Again,
and habitual, that type of thing.
All a bit of both. So like like you would see like there is stuff going into like genes and that, and it's really, really early days research. So like you can't really say for sure with that side yet. But obviously, if they're coming into an environment where their food environment is eating a certain way and eating a certain amounts of foods, maybe not getting, like, they've been brought up not eating very many vegetables. It's all kind of like high calorie, easy to throw together meals that can, obviously it's going to impact them as a person, and they're going to go away from there. And it's something that a lot of clients struggle with. They've maybe never eaten vegetables in their life really, or they tell you they don't like vegetables, but they've not tried them since they're 10. Like, it's common, it's really common. It's just try and encourage them to like start trying new things and find ways to do it. And I know I'm rambling a wee bit here with that side of it.
No, carry on with this one. This one is a big question, so it does require a little bit more context.
Veggies as well. A lot of times, like for the fitness industry, it's very much been like, oh, you just need to eat vegetables. But for somebody that's never ate vegetables and they've got it in their head that they do not like vegetables, that's a huge challenge. So like allowing them to maybe even have some more calories on the vegetables that's going to encourage them to eat it is cool. And if that means putting some hot sauce on it, or Nando sauce or whatever, if it gets them into the routine of just encouraging vegetables, then that's going to massively help their health. It's going to massively help their energy levels, which is then in turn going to hopefully make them feel better to then move a bit more and start to feel a bit more confident with the food they eat and the choices they make, which is a big package is all going to come.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of studies done on the psychology behind this as well, because most of our habits and most of our personality is developed within the first few years of our life. So if you were not subjected to eating those types of foods in that environment, or you were, but then you decided you didn't like them, which again a lot of kids do, and it's either because generally they do not like them, or because kids have this whole thing again, they don't want to be healthy. And so those behaviors and those opinions and those habits are deeply installed in these people. So to get out those habits later on in life it is a big struggle, definitely.
Well, like, quickly before I let you go on, but like I was the fussiest eater in the world as a kid. I was shocking. And it was the environment that probably changed my eating habits to start with. And do you know what it was? At like 16, 17, I got a girlfriend and was getting invited for dinner, and I was getting put food down in front of me that was like vegetables, and I was like, better eat that. I'll just eat it. You know what I mean? You've got to, so like that changed my environment a wee bit, and forced me to eat it. And like, don't get me wrong, like my mum and my gran were great for making me eat my veggies and that, but I didn't want to eat them. I didn't like eating them.
Yeah, but it is really interesting one, because I mean I was brought up as a vegetarian until I was about 12. My dad's a pescatarian, so he eats fish. He ate eggs as well, and this was me as a person. So I'm not trying to say as if this was any of like my parents' faults. This was me, but that made me an incredibly fussy eater, because I wasn't being subjected to different types of food. I wasn't trying other types of food. I think I only ate fish, and I did start to eat chicken in my teens. And so I was extremely underweight, actually extremely unhealthy, because I didn't have a wide varied diet. So yeah, it goes always. Alrighty, let's move on to question number 7. You have to exercise in order to lose fat.
Folks. It's a very good idea though, and it will make it a lot easier. So it's definitely false, because at the end of the day, if you get in a deficit, and like what I would say, like, can we put exercises like maybe structured exercise on that?
Yes, yeah.
You do need to move. If you literally lie in your bed all day, it's going to be very, like, you would need to pretty much not eat. So technically you could still do it, but you don't need structured training. You don't need structured exercise. It does, as much as it sounds simplistic, it is about that energy balance of moving more and eating a bit less. But there's a lot. The problem is there's a lot more that comes to that when it comes to human behaviours and hunger levels and how much sleep they're getting, and all these things are so important. But I think as well, like, a lot of times, and I've done it myself when I first started a PT, I was like, you need to go to the gym and train 5 times a week or whatever it happens to be, and it's nonsense. Like, if you just find things that you like to do that is going to keep you moving a wee bit more, and being active in life, and then obviously look after your food and your calorie intake, then you get results.
Yeah, and I say this to the guys on my program. I genuinely believe the fat loss or calorie burn you get from the gym doesn't mean anything. It's the fact of them going and enjoying the exercise, and because they enjoy it, they'll then be consistent with it, and then over a period of time, of course, they're going to burn more calories. But the fat loss you get from, like, you come in, you'd be lucky to burn about 300 calories when you're in the gym.
100%, and I pretty much try and tell my team to, like, separate the training from the fat loss altogether. Like, look at training as something to enjoy, something that's going to help you build confidence in your body's ability, and like get strong basically, and move well. And like, for the fat loss side of it, look at your food, look at your stuff that's going to help your calorie intake, look at stuff that's going to help manage your hunger, and then obviously find something that you can do on a regular basis that you enjoy moving. That could be just going to walk with a podcast. That's that. There you go.
Yeah.
So you never.
Brilliant. Question number 8 slightly leads on from that. Fat loss happens in the kitchen. This is a depends one, isn't it?
Yes. Aye. Right. So this is one that's like, it's obviously I'm massively into the nutrition side of it, right? And it is so important. However, I think that one leans into, like, you have to go in and meal prep, and you have to cook from scratch all the time, and you have to do all these things, which is not true. So, like, I'm leaning towards false, but obviously it's a caveat with, like, because, like, for some people, if they're really, really busy, like, go and buy meal prep. Like, a lot of the supermarkets are really doing good stuff now. Like, I'll not mention names for advertising side of it, kind of thing, but, like, a lot of them are doing lower calorie meals that are higher in protein. So, like, if you're struggling for time and you've not got time to get in the kitchen, like, buy some of them, and then if they're not going to satisfy your hunger enough, you could just throw together, like, your own kind of veggies that you're kind of about batch cooking some veggies to add a wee bit of satiety in there or something like that. That's a top tip that I tell my clients all the time.
Yeah.
It depends on that one.
Depends. That is depends, because then we can look at it from the sense of, of course, like, nutrition is key, but then like we discussed, if we were moving, if we were active,
it's nutrition, it's movement, it's like finding stuff that you enjoy to do. It's the mindset side of it. Like, there's so much more than it just being in the kitchen. But I get, for the kind of statement that is,
yeah. Cool. Right. I love that one. Good. Question number 9. In order to lose fat, you should avoid sugar.
False. Absolute nonsense. Again, that comes back from a lot of the kind of theories about the insulin hypothesis, that spiking insulin levels is going to make you save fat, basically. It's been debunked so often, it's unbelievable. Do
you want to just give a little bit of background on that? I think most people probably would have heard about insulin spikes and fat gain, but do you want to just give a little bit of background?
A lot of the stuff that was kind of thought of back in the day a wee bit further, and like I was taught at my PT qualification, things like that as well, these types of stuff. That if you eat foods that are high on the glycemic index, which is basically high sugar foods, they basically cause your insulin levels to spike, and it was claimed that would cause you to retain fat. It's been disproven time and time again. There's been study after study after study on it, and it always comes back to energy balance, basically. So,
yeah, cool, brilliant. Question number 10. Intermittent fasting works. For anyone who's not sure what intermittent fasting is, it's essentially having a fasting and an eating window throughout the day. So, for example, I wouldn't eat anything till 1 o'clock. The only times that I would eat would then be between 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. and then I wouldn't eat again after 8 p.m.
Can I say it does work if it gets you in an energy deficit?
Yeah.
So intermittent fasting, again, it sometimes gets put into the fad diet groups and stuff like that. And it's actually just a really good way to manipulate your calories. It's not magic. Like a lot of the intermittent fasting gurus out there will claim that it's going to like do all sorts of things, ranging from like save your life to even like some of them will claim ridiculous things like cancer and things like that. I can manage that. Like, that's nonsense. But as a simple way to just manipulate the intake of your food, it can work very, very well. And if we go right back to the start when I mentioned non-tracking methods, it's a really good one to use. You just get to shift things about. If you think about it, if you like a lot of breakfast being the most important meal of the day, that was a study paid for by Kellogg's. So not saying anything, but so that makes people think they have to have breakfast. If you don't like having breakfast, and you've been forcing yourself to have breakfast because you believe it's going to help you lose fat, take the breakfast away. You don't want it anyway. That's intermittent fasting. You'll skip my meal.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people think that it works because they think there's some sort of science behind it because you're fasting for a certain time. That is not the case. What is normally the case is you'll be skipping a meal. I'm not going to call it intermittent fasting, but I essentially did that for quite a few years. And the reason it worked for me was I know that I'm hungry at nighttime. I want to snack at nighttime. I want to eat shit at nighttime. If I'm going to order a Domino's, it would be at night when I'm sitting on the couch. It wouldn't be when I'm getting up for breakfast. So what I did was I didn't eat till about 2:00, and I did this for years. It's only been very recently that I've actually stopped it. And the reason for that is because I'm working from home now. I want to enjoy a nice breakfast. So me and Amy will make something together. And that worked brilliant for me because that meant that I was having about 2,000 calories from a dinner, which meant I could be a little bit of a pig, enjoy myself, and I was still within my calories. So it's got its place.
Domino's if it was open at that time in morning.
Probably, mate. I ordered one at 1:45 yesterday in the afternoon. Guys, life hack. If you order a Domino's in the middle of the afternoon, they aren't as busy, so they can prepare it better. Therefore, it's nicer.
Fresh pizza.
Fresh pizza, mate. It was brilliant. This one kind of is similar. This one is question number 11 is similar to intermittent fasting. I suppose it's a little bit similar to the carbs question as well. The keto diet works.
I really want to say false, right? However, again, if it creates an energy deficit, it will work. However, you'll be miserable on it. Miserable. So,
yeah.
Technically, if it creates a deficit, it works.
Yeah, the ketogenic diet is essentially cutting out carbohydrates. But the reason it's become popularized is because of this whole idea of ketosis. Do you want to tell the guys a little bit about that, Stu?
So that side of it's like irrelevant, really, like for fat loss. And a lot of times, like a big misconception where it is like they believe that by basically cutting out carbs, you're going into ketosis and it's going to basically cause your body to burn more fat, right? Which your body will burn more fat as a fuel source, but that's because you're eating more fat. So it'd be like saying to me, like, I've got a glass of water and I've got a glass of juice. Like, if I drink more iron brew, I'm going to get more iron brew in my system. Of course I am. Like, but it's still fluid. So it's a wee bit the same. Like, you're just getting different. That analogy was a bit crap, to be fair. But it's just different. Like,
makes sense. Makes sense.
You're taking more fat as energy, so you're going to burn more fat, but it's not the same as body fat. That comes back to your energy balance kind of thing. Yeah. And a lot of the ones, like, you get ketone drinks, all that's doing is putting more ketones in your blood. That's not the same as being in ketogenic state either. So the ketone drinks are even worse because they don't actually put you in a ketogenic state. They just put more ketones in your blood.
Yeah, I think another actually important thing to point on here is, and this is what me and Stu would have been banging our heads against a brick wall trying to explain in the early days of PT with clients. You've got fat, which is body fat, and then you have a macronutrient called fats. Right? So fats, listen, we've got protein, carbs, and fats are demonized. Fats is not body fat. The reason it's demonized, one, is because it's got the word fat, and two, because fats are higher calories. So therefore, there's a likelihood of you putting on more body fat as well. But I think we're going to come to this later on, but it's just an energy source, isn't it? It's an energy source. So however you balance your energy source, if you're within your caloric range and if you're in your energy expenditure range, then that's fine. Question number 12. If a celebrity endorses a product, if a celebrity endorses a fat loss product, you should probably trust them.
Folks. Stuff they sell is nonsense. Can that be my quickest answer? They're not qualified in any shape or form to like be promoting the stuff that they're promoting. They don't, half the time they won't understand or know what they're talking about, but they're being handed like a wee bit of a cash incentive to jump on their social media and sell it. I'm going to say it. PTs can't always be trusted either, right? I'm not coming from a bad place and saying that. A lot of PTs like will believe that it's a good thing, and I just
agreed.
not know got the nutritional knowledge or whatever it is they're selling. They've not got the knowledge in it, and like we all get suckered in with things. We all believe different things for people that are brilliant at selling stuff, and just because you're a PT doesn't mean you can't get suckered in with that kind of stuff. So even on that front,
Yeah. No, definitely agreed. And I think that's a really good point as well. Like, yeah, me and Stu will be harsh on people and we'll be like, oh, how can they be doing this? You know, they're tapping into potentially vulnerable people. But you're right. If you believe that freezing your fat cells work, then maybe this influencer, this celebrity maybe believed it as well. I mean, you'd fucking hope not, but it's true. A lot of it might genuinely be because they think it helps, and I think especially from PTs as well. A lot of the bad advice I used to give when I first started PTing was because I believed it. You know, it wasn't because I was trying to make a quick buck or anything like that.
After starvation mode was a thing.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of things there, and it's a lot. It's the qualifications to become a PT are a big part of the problem, because the information you're taught on that PT course is horrible, like horrible.
Yeah, I'm just going to interject slightly as well with regards to nutrition. When you do, I put up a post about this the other day. When a personal trainer does their level 3 personal training course, it isn't even that they aren't qualified in nutrition. There's an actual disclaimer in a lot of the courses saying you cannot give dietary advice to people unless
government guidelines, and that's it. So that is like the Eat Well plate, which I think Eat Well plate's changed a wee bit, but it's the information the government gives out and the PTs on level 3 qualifications are allowed to give out. It's advice for a population. It's not advice for an individual. Yeah. So a lot of the time it's not suitable for the person that's getting that advice either. So yeah, and it's a lot of times minimum values as well, rather than like optimal values that's on the recommendations for vitamins and minerals and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, definitely. Question number 13: emotional eating is a weakness.
False. False. I was twisting the question there. False. Yeah, no, like you want to be aware of like whether you're being mindful with your eating or whether you're being mindless with your eating, and it plays a big part. Like we'll all sit and watch telly and munch away in a packet of crisps. Like you give me Haribos in front of the telly and that bag's going in under 20 seconds. That's away. So like if you can be aware of your food and your thoughts around food and how it impacts you, and what, like how a lot of it comes back to why you do things. Like if you're eating through stuff that is like you're trying to cover up emotions and things like that, you want to have a wee look at that and see what's going on. And like a good wee tip that I kind of tell my clients is a wee mindful eating tip is if you go to like say it is like the munchies in the evening can hang in your front of the telly, ask yourself the question first: are you bored? Because if you're bored, what do? We go to the fridge. If it's no bored, then obviously move on. If it is, go and find something to do with your time that interests you a wee bit more. Next up is probably like take a glass of water, because sometimes thirst can manifest as hunger.
Yeah.
If you have that glass of water, give yourself 20 minutes. If the hunger's passed, cool, you were just thirsty. If not, then go and eat. But like make it high in protein, make it high in fibre, especially if your goal's fat loss. And then that way you're being a bit more aware of your emotions around food, because boredom's a big one. Like
Perfect. Guys, if anyone listening to this wants a little bit more information on emotional eating, go watch my podcast with the amazing Sky Elizabeth, because she did a whole topic on that, and it was similar things. It was the difference between emotional eating and real hunger and all that type of stuff.
Really good for that stuff.
Really good. So go check that out, guys. Question number 14: you should count steps for fat loss.
False. You can if you choose to. You don't have to. Like even if you just look at it in terms of like you'll know how active you are on a daily basis. If you're currently like spending a lot of your free time just like watching Netflix or chilling on the couch or whatever it happens to be, just by adding in a walk, if you know, right, I'm going to start going to walk for half an hour, that's progress. So you don't have to have numbers. And the 10,000 step that's banded about, it's a decent guide, but it is just a guide. You can still lose fat if you're only on 7,000, 5,000, 8,000. It doesn't matter. Like,
it's the same as everything. I had a client say to me, and it was to do with it's everyone assumes that when a guideline being given, it's like it's gospel, it's a thing. So like people think when they hit 10,000 steps, that's them going to be losing fat.
So many of my clients when they first start off and they're like, they'll maybe drop my message and be like, I'm struggling to hit 10,000 steps, and I'm just like, cool. And you can
cool. And
cool, do whatever it. Just do your best, see if you can get it tomorrow. And it's like,
I know. Yeah. I know. But guys, of course, that's not to discourage you if you're counting your steps and you're finding as if that works for you. Like, of course, if you're actively counting them, you're probably going to be more active than if you weren't, but you don't have to, and it's no a magic number.
People are under a lot of pressure with it at times, and I think if you're the type of person that works really well with numbers, go with it. If it's something that's going to put you under pressure, don't.
Brilliant. Okay, right, we've got 5 questions to go. Question number, we've got 6. Question number 15. You need to track carbs and fats in order to lose fat.
False. Honestly, I would say in the vast majority of cases, don't. If you're tracking, I would look at calories and I'd look at protein. The carb fat ratio, and people talk about perfect macro splits and all that kind of stuff, it's irrelevant for fat loss.
Yeah. Perfect. Brilliant. Okay. You need to go to the gym to lose fat.
False. And I think for a lot of people, it probably what holds them back because they feel they need to. If they're a bit like apprehensive about joining a gym or training in a gym, you can 100% just start looking after your food, be more active in any which way you want. It doesn't matter. It could be going to walk, it could be going rock climbing, it could be going running. It doesn't matter. You don't have to go to a gym. Definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Brilliant. So we just mentioned in another question there that we don't need to track carbs and fats to lose fat. You did mention about tracking protein though. So do you need to eat a lot of protein in order to lose fat? That's question number 17.
You don't need to. No, you could have a very low protein diet and still lose fat. 100%. The one thing I would say is as one of your macronutrients, that and like fiber as well, which is obviously kind of carbohydrate, can be massively helpful for satiety. So I would. It's a good idea if you're tracking. Probably make sure you're getting protein in. But again, people often go with their total daily protein, and they just like, so they might have massive protein in their dinner, but hardly any else maybe early in the day, for an example. And it's actually that like 20 grams of protein per serving has been shown to satisfy hunger. So you're better spreading it out over the day, and that'll help your hunger.
Yeah. So if me and Stu had a client come to us and the whole counting calories maybe wasn't working, they maybe weren't great with numbers, they maybe didn't get it, maybe they've been to Slimming World, all types of things, so they've been taught about sins and all this type of stuff, and the whole calories thing confusing. Obviously, it's our job to teach them about that. However, what we would probably recommend is we could say eat a higher protein diet and maybe even just look at your protein, because you're more likely to be more full, therefore eating less. If you're eating more protein with a meal, for example, if you're eating a larger portion of chicken, something like that, the chances are if you're prioritizing that, you're going to be eating less carbs and less fats. So it can be quite a good way in order to do that. But yeah, again, this whole sort of, what was the number you said? It was 2 grams per pound is still flung about? No.
You go to a PT and they'll be like, you have to have 2 grams per kilogram of body weight and things like that. And see, honestly, for the vast majority of the general pops, probably higher than you need, like maybe 1.4 to 1.8, 1.5 to 1.8, something like that would be more adequate. One thing I would say, again, going back to government guidelines, is a lot of time that will be like 0.8 grams per kilo of body weight. There's a lot of research says that that's definitely too low. But it takes so long for this kind of stuff to go through legislation that the guidelines can often be like 10 years out of date kind of thing. So that side, you probably want to be higher than what's recommended by like the NHS and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Question number 18. You should eat carbs post-workout. I'm going to fire this from 2 angles. One is the bodybuilder angle, as it will help you build muscle to eat carbs post-workout. And then from the fat loss angle, you should eat carbs post-workout because your body's still going to be burning them off and therefore they don't count.
Well, both false.
Yeah.
Both false. So the burning them more after the workout is like that. It's not how it works. It doesn't go like that. It always comes back to energy balance. And obviously I'll repeat myself a wee bit with that, but it literally is that. The bodybuilding kind of angle where it's massively believed in, like probably like you speak to a PT, vast majority will probably tell you to get carbs in post-workout because that's going to help muscle protein synthesis. It doesn't help it any more than hitting your protein requirements on their own. So like it's a bit sciencey, but you have to hit muscle protein synthesis threshold to stimulate your ability to grow muscle, right? So everybody's slightly different, but within that, it's like the leucine, which is one of your BCAs. That doesn't mean you need to start taking BCAs, by the way. But so you need to hit your individual threshold for that, right? And when you add carbs to that, they've looked at it. There's been research and studies done. It doesn't help it anymore by adding carbohydrates in. All right. So and a lot of time they'll argue that but the carbohydrates cause insulin spikes. It forces stuff into like your amino acids into the muscle and things like that. It doesn't improve it any further.
Yeah.
And protein actually causes an insulin spike as well. So you get enough of an insulin spike from adequate protein to cause that push into the muscles.
Yeah. That was what I used to do. I used to believe that. I used to have the carbs post workout because we believed it caused an insulin spike, which then forced the protein to your muscles faster.
Yeah, it was a maltodextrin, mate.
That was a maltodextrin, yeah. To be honest as well, it's because I was but then this is another thing. I used to think that I needed to eat like 5,000 calories a day in order to put on muscle. So I physically couldn't eat any more food. So I was having something called maltodextrin, which is like a pure carb. So I was having that post workout.
I used it as well. That and Haribo probably alternated for me.
yeah.
A bit gutting. So for anybody that I've ruined your post-workout Haribo, I'm sorry.
Intra-workout as well. Intra-workout. Need to have Haribos when you train. Right, we've got two more questions. Stu, second last question. You have to hit your calorie target in order to lose fat.
False. So again, it's one of the things that you get a kind of calorie target off a PT or whatever, and they'll be like, you have to hit that. If you don't hit that, you're going to go into like starvation mode and things like that. It's nonsense. If you can use, if you're not hungry, don't force yourself to eat. That's not a good relationship with food either. So no, definitely not.
Cool, brilliant. Okay, and then before this, we were actually discussing a little bit about let's not use the word target. Let's allowance is maybe better.
Yeah, I like almost look at it as allowance. Like one, it gives you a bit more flexibility because say for easy sake, say you were on 2,000 calories a day and you only ate 1,500 one day because you weren't hungry. That 500 could go on to later on in the week when you maybe want that pizza. Or just the next day when you maybe like hunger is a wee bit higher for different reasons and things like that. So it gives you a bit of flexibility. But also like if you look at it, if your goal's fat loss, if you were only hungry enough to eat 1,500 calories that day and you were thinking you were going to eat 2,000, you're laughing, aren't you? You're getting closer.
Yeah, exactly. It means you can treat yourself at the weekend. You can eat more. Yeah. So don't, especially for fat loss, don't feel as if you need to hit that number. You should, as long as you feel as if you've got enough energy throughout the day and you're active and you're able to do all the things physically that you're wanting to do, then you're fine. Final question, Stu.
Quickly add something to that.
Yes, of course.
Another wee cool mindful eating hack is we all eat a lot of the time with like so much going on about us. When you get a chance, sit down at a table with no distractions whatsoever and just enjoy the food. You might notice being full for the first time in a long time. And when you notice that feeling again, like you'll start to learn a bit more about eating when you're hungry, stop eating when you're satisfied, and that can be game changing when you start to learn to notice that.
Yeah, no distractions. Yeah, that's a really good one. Phone away, eating on your own. Yeah, that's a really cool hack. Final question. You should track all of your meals, including ones when you're eating out.
False. Definitely false. Again, if you want to, but it doesn't really give for a great lifestyle, especially for like socialising. We've all had so much social stuff taken away from us right now. It's probably more important than ever. But like, there's loads of things that you can do if you're going out for a meal with friends and things like that. You could have a wee look at the menu ahead of time. Is an easy one if you want to just get a rough idea of like what your intake's going to do, and then you can manipulate the rest of your day for that. Intermittent fasting again is a great option for that, though. You could easily just like skip some meals earlier on the day, which allows you to have your big 3-course meal, which is what we want kind of thing. If you want some drinks with it as well, you're laughing. Another great wee tip for that is look at the menu itself. And a lot of times when we go out for eating, like say like macaroni and cheese, say you're going out for like a pub dinner or something like that. Macaroni and cheese is like high in calories because it's high in fat and high in carbs. So like you could set yourself a wee guideline to follow that if you pick from the menu, it's either high fat with low carb or low carb with high. Did I say the same thing there?
Yeah,
high
yeah.
carb, low carb.
yeah.
Fat with high carb. Is that I've mixed them up there? So one of the others, because if you've got both in, then it's going to likely be high in calories. Whereas if one's you're higher fat but you're having a lot lower carbs with it, it's probably going to balance out the calories and vice versa.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, Stu, thank you so much. Guys, I hope that you got a lot from that. That is just some of the information that you can hear. I don't know exactly how long that was, maybe 40 minutes. That is some of the information that you can learn from literally just spending 40 minutes with Stu. He knows his stuff, and hopefully there's some things from that you've taken away, that maybe things that you believed before, or maybe some new things that you've learned today. Stu, if anyone else wants to find out a little bit more about you or to follow you on your socials, where can they find you?
Just search Stu McLay Fitness on Instagram, Facebook, the kind of things. My website is stuMcLayFitness.com. You can go have a look at that as well if you like.
Brilliant, amazing. How good was that? That was fat loss, true or false. Guys, if you enjoyed the episode, then please make sure that you are subscribing. If you're watching this on video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're subscribing it on audio, make sure you're following me on Spotify as well as all my socials. Guys, if you enjoyed that, please let me know. Please share it to your Instagram story. If this is something that you enjoyed, me and Stu will definitely be doing this again, getting back, myth busting and educating you guys as much as possible. Until next time, take care.